So this week's lesson is on subject-verb agreement. If you remember, the subject is the who or what the sentence is about, and the verb is the action of the subject or the state of being for the subject. So what this is all about is making sure that your subject and your verb agree in amount and number. So we've got she as a singular noun or subject. So we need a singular verb, jumps, as the verb. Notice how if the subject doesn't have an S, then most often the verb will. So frogs, that's a plural, so we need the plural verb, and that becomes jump. When we have the irregular verbs, then we don't always have that perfect combination between either the subject having the S or the verb having the S. So in the child naps, that works. We've got a singular subject and then we have our plural verb, so we add the S. But the plural of child isn't child's, so it's the children nap. And then finally, it changes also with those to be verbs. So he was and they were. Pretty basic, pretty common sense. Let's see what that's going to look like on your assignment. So when you go to your assignment, what you're going to do, you're going to click on the subject. You got to make sure that it's clear what the subject is. So you highlight the subject and then you find the corresponding verb. So if it's I, then we've got to have know for our verb. And then you just move on to the next one. For the second assignment, we are going to talk about subject, verb, agreement in subject and verb, and this time we're looking for agreement in subjects and verbs when you've got intervening prepositional phrases. Hopefully you can remember back to 9th grade when you sang the song, the preposition song. So if you remember, we memorized those prepositions to Yankee Doodle. It's about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, at, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, etc. So those are your prepositions. Another way to think about it is prepositional phrases are often sort of, Miss Benetham used to talk about like if you had a house, right? So you can go in the house, you can go out of the house, you can throw a ball over the house, etc. So those are some reminders of what that prepositional phrase is. So the good news is if you can recognize the prepositional phrase, you can remember that the subject will never be a part of that prepositional phrase. So if we look at this number 1 here, we would want to take out in the city, because that's the prepositional phrase. And then we know that apartments is the subject. So apartments being a plural subject, apartments are required to have smoke alarms. The second one we have of trucks is the prepositional phrase. We want to take that out. Think about just, if you can, you want to sort of strike through that part. And so it's convoy is the subject. So a convoy is roaring becomes the verb. The list, we're going to cut out of names. So the list is very important, and so on and so forth. So what does that look like for your assignment this week? So this week, what you're going to do is you're going to select your subject, not the prepositional phrase. Remember, we ignore the prepositional phrase. So select the subject, so directions, and then select the verb. So in this case, it's are available at the information desk. So same sort of thing. You pick your subject, you find your verb. All right, I hope that helps. Good luck and have a great week.